Hello friends, myself Mr. Sunil Deokar, Head Department of English in Rayat Shikshan Sanstha's Rao Bahadur Narendra Borawke College, Shrirampur. Today I am going to deal with the poem of Rabindranath Tagore, his famous poem Where the Mind is Without Fear. So Rabindranath Tagore is a well-known figure in English literature. So he was born in the year 1861 and died in the year 1914. So he was known as Gurudev. He is known as Gurudev. Why he was known as Gurudev? Because in those days, the teachers, they were given the place of Gurudev. And he was a poet, philosopher, dramatist, short story writer, novelist, painter, essayist, and above all, a nation builder. I would say he was also a social reformer in that sense, you can say. So he was a bilingual poet. He wrote in two languages, Bengali and English. So his well-known work, Gitanjali, it was originally written in Bengali and was published in the year 1910. It consisted totally 157 songs. So these poems, in a sense, instead of saying poems, these poems, they were known as songs, or these were devotional songs. That means a message, it was been transformed from these songs. And later on, these songs, they were translated into English by Rabindranath Tagore himself in the year 1912. They were published and it was a collection of 103 songs, you can say. So for this, so when you can say, through this Gitanjali, he was known by the world. He was known by the world. The thought it reached in every corner of the world, and for that purpose, in the year 1913, he was awarded Nobel Prize for his Gitanjali collection of poem in English literature, I would say. And his another famous work, it is The Gardener. It is, that means this is a collection of love poetry which has been addressed to human beings, love to humanity in a sense. That was the central theme of his collection of these poems, The Gardener. Beyond that, he is also known for composing of the national anthem, Jana Gana Mana Adinayak Jai He. So this national song, it was also composed by Rabindranath Tagore. Beyond that, I would say, he not only composed the national anthem of India, but he also composed the national anthem of Bangladesh, Amar Sono Bengali. So that means that it was also been composed by Rabindranath Tagore. So he was, I would say, a very different kind of prolific poet and a writer. So from all dimensions, we would say he was not only a writer, but beyond that, he was a social reformer, he was a nation builder, he was a philosopher, and with all these characteristics, he was of the concept of, you can say, of global universality. So he did not believe, we can say, mankind, there in a sense, and knowledge is the power. Knowledge is the power, and through this knowledge, he believed in universality. So he believed in universality, that means universal brotherhood. So if you see in his writing, so what thought it has been expressed? It has been expressed about universal brotherhood. And that's why, in a sense, his work, it is an original work, and his thoughts, they are even expressed through this poem also. And I would say this poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear, so this poem is also a collection of poems from his Gitanjali. So Gitanjali, you can say this poem is also a collection from his poem, the Gitanjali, and it is the 35th poem. And this poem, as we know, his period, if you see, it was before independence. It was before independence, and he always dreamt of free India, a democratic India. That was a vision and that vision, it was expressed through his writing. And this poem, in a sense, it is a clear vision of Rabindranath Tagore's free India. And so it is a vision of new awakened India, awakening. So that means the people, they should awake. And what is power? They should know. They should know that means what can change their attitude. They might be today, they might be the slaves in front of the Britishers, but you should change. You should dream of free India. That was the, you can say, the basic theme of this poem. So originally this poem, it was written in Bengali, Nayaveda, or you may also call it as a Prarthana in Hindi, Prarthana, or in English, it is a devotional song. It is a devotional song. Now I'll turn to the poem. So this poem here, if you see, so the title itself, Where the Mind is Without Fear. So it is addressed to every Indian. I would also call this poem as a patriotic song. So it is a patriotic song, you can say, and at the same time, beyond that means he want to address to all the people in India. So at that time, India, it was governed by the Britishers. It was the rule of the Britishers. We Indians, we were the slaves of these Britishers. And he dreamt of independent India. And he want to say the freedom of what? Body and soul. Both, he can say. What is important? Freedom, it should be of body and soul. So that freedom, so it has been expressed through this poem. And that's why he says, where the mind, if it is without fear, what would naturally happen? He can say. So trust in yourself, know yourself. And so that it has been expressed through this poem. And so here, as I have already told you, this poem, in a sense, it is about what? It is the awakening of India. It is the awakening of the Indian people and move towards the freedom movement. So it is also, we may say, an appeal for freedom movement. I will just first of all read the poem and then go line by line. I will just read. Where the mind is without fear and head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where the tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into every widening thought and action, into the heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. So here just see, let my country awake. My country. So we can clearly see it is addressed to the Indian people. It is addressed to the every Indian human being. So as if you are being ruled by these Britishers and you should awake. So that's why now I'll go line by line. Where the mind is without fear, what would naturally happen? Where the mind? So you should not live like a slave. So freedom of what? Freedom of thought. So here you can say mind is what? Mind is freedom of thought, I would say. It is freedom of thought. So you should have that freedom of thought, freedom of expression. If you express yourself naturally, what would naturally happen? If you are without fear, your head is held high. That means you will get your self-identity. What does it speak? Head is held high means what? It is your own identity. What would naturally happen? You will get your own identity. So when you are free, so when you start thinking, when you start expressing your thoughts, when you discuss with each other, when you come out with a new thought, with a new action plan, what would naturally happen? Your head, it will be held higher. Your head, it will be held high means what? You will get your own identity. You will be known by the people. You will be known by the world. So create your own identity. Create your own thoughts. Where the knowledge is free. Further he says, what is needed for that? Knowledge, it should be free. So knowledge, it should not be encased. So knowledge, whatever that means, you should read books. You should enhance your knowledge. You should go beyond these boundaries. So that means as the freedom of press, you should read, you should enhance knowledge, you should inculcate with all the skills, and at the same time you should be able to express your knowledge. So knowledge is power. So knowledge is power. So here in a sense, without education, so education is power. Education is the greatest weapon. So if you, that means if you see all these European people, why these, that means the Britishers, they ruled the entire world, because we could see that it was only one thing, that was knowledge. With the help of knowledge, they used that knowledge and they ruled the whole entire world, I would say. And so knowledge, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments. So what has naturally happened? The world, it has broken up into fragments. I would say, you can take example of India itself. India, before independence, what do we see? Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, together we were one. But what happened after independence? So today what we see, there is, that means huge amount. It has been spent on what? It has been spent on the defense. And if this amount, it could have been saved, what would have been the status of India? Each one, I would say near about 50% of our amount, it is spent on defense, or you can say on our own security. Is there any need of security for ourselves? We say Z security, or you can say the different types of securities which are being given to every ministers, or you can say across the boundaries. So why there is need? So there is no need. We who have created these boundaries, we as human beings, we are responsible. We have created, we have segregated ourselves. So we have segregated. So that means these walls, they have been created by ourselves. What kind of wall? It might be the color discrimination. So black and white, rich and poor, casteism, or any, that means racial discrimination, whatever it might be. So at different level, gender discrimination, power discrimination. So all this, you can say, this world, it has been broken into fragments. What is it? So this world, it has been broken into fragments. So pieces. So the world, it has been broken into pieces. Why? Because of this wretched human thought. The thoughts of human beings, they should change. Our attitude, it should change. Our attitude, it should be of brotherhood. So we should know what is, that means we should know the eternal truth. What is eternal truth? One who comes to birth has to die. Then why you are fighting among yourselves? So there is no need. So try to know yourselves. So that means where the world has not been broken up into fragments by the narrow domestic walls. So just see these walls. Who has created these walls? We have created these walls. So we see India, Pakistan. That means we say Pak, Pak occupied. That means India occupied Pak. You can say so, or that all these boundaries, the China wall, wherever we say there is even the fight between the brothers. What we fight for? So you have just came for certain period on this earth. So just look at the animals. How do they behave? We as human beings, how do we behave? Who have created these walls? So you have broken up all these walls. That means you should inculcate the brotherhood feeling in yourselves. So try to love humanity. So love humanity, and he has expressed his thought in The Gardener also. The same, he can say, his collection of poems. So here also he says, he can say, that means try to break these domestic walls, narrow domestic walls, your attitude. If you are open-minded, everything would, where if you are open-minded, there is progress. Where there is progress, there is success. And it is the upliftment of everyone, I would say, where words come out from the depth of truth. So just see truth. What is truth? You should be loyal. Loyalty is, that means Mahatma Gandhi, he gave us two weapons, truth and ahimsa. So why we got freedom? We got, that means our freedom weapons, they were truth and ahimsa. So truth and non-violence, ahimsa means non-violence. So these were the two weapons through which we won the war. Or you can say we got freedom movement against these Britishers. So that attitude, so that knowledge or the truth. So where words come out, There should be loyalty. Loyalty of what? Of body and soul. Your thought and action. Your thought and action, it should be truthful, you can say, where words come out from the depth of truth. Where the tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Tireless striving. So here the word which has been used is tireless striving. Tireless striving means what? So you should work hard. Hard work. What has been expected? So work is worship. Work is dignity. Work is your identity. Work is your success. So how much you should work? You should work. What is your responsibility? Whatever the work has been assigned to you, you should be faithful to your duty. You should be faithful to your responsibility. So I would say, I as a teacher, what is my profession? I should know my responsibility. Where? In the college, at home, in the society. So we should be loyal. We should work hard. And it should be an endless, striveless work, and it should stretch its arms towards perfection. What would naturally happen? So we said, one side, no one is perfect, but how can that perfection can be achieved? That perfection can be achieved if you strive hard, if you work hard. Everything, success or your perfection, you can become skilled, and that perfection can be achieved. So whatever work you decide, so where initial level you are failure, and failure is the first step of success. So that means whenever you work hard, naturally you know your faults. If you start working hard, so you started introspecting what faults were being created by me, or where I was a failure. You overcome your weaknesses, and naturally you next time you succeed. And with your growing capability, your ability, it enhances, and it leads to what? It leads to perfection, arms towards perfection. So just see what you want to say. What kind of India? How he is dreaming India? So he is dreaming perfect India. He is dreaming perfect India. So dreary desert. Dreary means what? Gloomy, sad. So where the clear stream of reason. What is been told here? Clear stream of reason. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. So what we have been told, what should be our life? Our life, it should be clear stream of reason. So here stream, here likewise some nature images, there have been also clear flow of water. That means one should not stop. It might be any situation. So here also use the word desert. Desert or sand, he can say. So when he uses that word desert, what does he want to say? Desert is obstacle. Desert is your difficulty. So whatever that means, in that difficult situation also, you should not get upset. Your morals should not get down. So you should always be able to tackle all the situations. So that power, it should be developed by you. And so he says, where the clear stream of reason, whatever the thought or whatever your goal or whatever your target, reason it might be anything, has not lost, it should not lose your confidence, it should not come down its way. So its way, it should not come down. Where? In the dreary desert means what? So where you feel that I could not do. So where you are lost your moral, so where you have lost your confidence, so it should not happen. Of dead habit. So even though that means you should change your dead habit. So that means you should, even though the conditions they might be adverse, you should look them in a positive manner. You should look them in a positive manner, so that you can become successful. So dreary desert sand of dead habit. So you should change your attitude there also. So where the mind is forward thee. So where the mind is led forward by thee. Led forward. So just see. Your mind, it should march ahead, led forward. You should go ahead. You should not stop. So you should always go ahead. Where the mind is led ahead by you. Who will lead? You yourself. You are responsible for your success or your failure. If you go ahead, you will be successful. If you go back, you will be failure. So march ahead, go ahead. So march ahead or go ahead into every widening thought of action. Where you should go? every widening. Yes, that means knowledge or the sphere of work, it is very huge. Nothing can be completed. So many things, they are yet unexplored. They are not yet explored. So you will, that means the nature or this world, it will not exhaust. You will exhaust. So that means you have endless dreams. You have endless work. And you should continue. You should go forward. And you should explore the beautiful world. So when you work, you learn new things. And when you learn new things, you become skilled. And when you are skilled, it leads to your success. And success is your happiness. So that attitude, it has been expressed. So ever widening thought and action. As I have already told you, what is thought and action? Thought is by your soul. That means mind, body, soul or mind. So mind, soul and body. So mind, that means you feel. By soul you feel. Your mind is your thought. And your body is your action. Body is what? Your action. So first we feel. We start thinking. It is, that means by mind. And further, your thought, it is converted into your action by your body. It is your physical action. So thought and action. So thought and action, they should match with each other. So it will lead to success. So it will lead to success there. So where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into the haven of freedom. What does he call haven of freedom? It's very, that means, see the words which he has used. Haven of freedom. What is important? Heaven. Heaven is what? That means a place of eternal happiness. And when you will get eternal happiness? When you are free. So when you are free, you will get that eternal happiness. So don't live an encaged life. Live a free life. And what is free life? It is the freedom of your soul, your mind and your body. And how you can become freedom? You can become free. It is only through your education. So start learning, start developing your habits. So start, you can say, working hard. So fix a target, fix a goal and run behind that. So work day and night until and unless you achieve that perfection. So you can become perfect through that, you can say. So where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into the haven of freedom. My Father is who? My Father is God. So he's addressing to God. My Father, oh God, give strength to all these people in India. Let my country awake. Awakening is different. Sleeping, to wake up is different and awake is different. Awake, jaga hone. So you can say you should awake with a new thought, and that thought will surely lead to success. So that thought will surely lead to success. So this thing, it has been expressed by Rabindranath Tagore through this poem in a very clear-cut manner. The language is simple, but the thought is very significant and very important. And so, as I have already told you, that poem, it is a new vision and awakening of India written in a freestyle. So there is certain repetition of where he can say the poem, it is written in free verse. Alright, that was the simple, that means the way I wanted to express my thought through this poem. Thank you.